33 candidates, one heartwarming choice. How her torn shoes revealed an inspiring life-changing story. In a small Midwestern town, Maya Collins stood tall against the backdrop of 33 glistening student council candidates, each boasting polished shoes that could blind a person on a sunny day. And then, there was Maya. Her hand-me-down sneakers were scuffed and worn, a testament to her family's struggles. But these shoes held a story far more powerful than the others' proud and pristine brands. They whispered tales of resilience from her mother, a hard-working waitress who endured long hours to keep food on the table. As Maya paced the hallways, the laughter of her classmates followed her like a shadow, often mocking her worn footwear. Words like poor and loser stung deeper than the toughest of rejections. The social divides of their community felt like barbed wire against her dreams, tightening around her heart. Yet, each sting only deepened her resolve. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, telling her stories of local veterans who fought for a better future, fueling Maya's spirit with hope and integrity. "Just wait and see," Maya would tell herself, holding the tattered sneakers close. "This doesn't define who I am." Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Tragedy struck when flames engulfed the house of a neighboring family, leaving them homeless and desperate. Instead of sulking in her own struggles, Maya felt the heat rise within her, not from the fire, but from a fierce desire to help. Ignoring the doubts swirling in her mind, she rallied her classmates. Together, they donned mismatched shoes and formed a plan to fundraise for the devastated family. They crafted posters, organized bake sales, and shined a light on their community's compassion. As the school swayed from superficiality to sincerity, Maya saw a shift. Her classmates began to see past the glossy exteriors and sparkling brands. There was a rhythm of hope in the hallways, as students embraced one another with a spirit of unity that felt electric. But just when Maya thought her mission was solidifying her place as a leader, her insecurities began to creep back in. What if they just saw her as an underdog? Would her sincerity hold weight against the shiny campaigns of her peers? Faced with the ultimate test of her integrity, she pondered, should she continue to focus on the election, or let her campaign transform into a movement of kindness? As the election drew near, doubts churned in her stomach like a summer storm. The stakes were high, and the choice was clear: lead with authenticity, or fade into the crowd. Maya stood at the intersection of her journey. Everything she valued hung in the balance. Would she have the courage to step forward, shoes worn and heart open, to show the true spirit of leadership? The day of the election dawned bright and clear. The sun spilled light over the school like a promise one Maya desperately hoped to grasp. She arrived early, her heart thumping loudly in her chest. Each thud felt like a countdown, urging her to embrace what lay ahead. The hallways buzzed with excitement, the air thick with camaraderie and the sweet aroma of fresh donuts from the cafeteria where the bake sales had unfolded. Maya took a deep breath, trying to calm the swirling doubts. The faces surrounding her were bright and animated, students animatedly discussing their favorite candidates, their shiny shoes glistening like trophies. But for Maya, today was different. Today wasn't just about winning, it was about something much bigger. She turned towards her small group of friends who had eagerly supported her bold vision. They were clutching handmade signs that read, "Real leaders, real change," and "Together we rise." The cheers and laughter that erupted from them sent a surge of courage through her veins. They weren't just supporters, they were a family united by a common cause. It reminded her that she wasn't alone in her fight. As the assembly hall filled up, she watched her classmates take their seats, some glancing her way with curiosity, others still cocooned in their ignorance of the weight of her torn shoes. But deep down, she sensed an awareness, a shift that lay just beneath the surface. The scars of the past, the mockery, the judgments began to fade as she prepared to share her heart. When the principal called her name, Maya stood up at the podium, gripping the edges. The hall quieted, anticipation settling over the crowd like a warm blanket. Hey everyone, she started, her voice initially shaky but gaining strength. I'm here not just to ask for your vote, but to ask for your partnership. Suddenly, the words poured forth like water from a dam. I know my shoes aren't shiny. I know I don't come from the same privileges many of you do, but I've learned that it's not about where you come from, it's about where we can go together. She felt a swell of emotion rise as her gaze scanned the room, meeting eyes that held questions, judgments, and perhaps, even a flicker of understanding. I've seen what happens when we lend a hand to each other. Our community can become a place that nurtures every dream, no matter how big or small. If I'm elected, I promise to be that voice for the voiceless and the strength for the weary. With each passing moment, the crowd leaned in closer. She could see the shift, students whispered to one another, engaged and intrigued. The glistening shoes, once symbols of status, now faded into the background as her message took center stage. But just as momentum surged, Maya's heart raced with the thought of her classmates questioning if she really could lead with courage. What if they believed her message was just a plea for sympathy? Just as a wave of hope crashed over her, doubt crept back in like an unwelcome shadow. Finally, with a determination ignited from the love of her community and the essence of the family, she wrapped it up. Let us not just stand by and watch, let us be the change in our town together. As thunderous applause erupted and her classmates stood to cheer, Maya felt an electric surge flow through her, powerful and pure. Yet, she couldn't shake the gnawing anxiety that lingered. What would happen if they saw her as just a girl in old sneakers rather than a leader? With that lingering question echoing in her mind, Maya stepped down, unsure if she'd transformed their perception or if she was still just that underdog fighting to belong. The election results awaited an answer that would change everything. Would she rise above? Maya's heart raced as she stepped away from the podium, still echoing with the cheers of her classmates. Each clap felt like a lifebuoy in a vast ocean of uncertainty. Yet, as the excitement wound down, the reality of the day sank in. She had spoken her truth, but would it be enough? As she navigated through the throng of students, some rushed to congratulate her while others maintained a safe distance, unsure of what to say. She caught snippets of conversations. Did you hear her? She really means it. Could she actually win? The exhilaration was intoxicating, but the raw nature of their words pierced through her heart, reminding her of how fragile this moment felt. At the edge of the crowd, Maya spotted her little brother, Alex, bouncing on his heels, eyes wide with pride. He had always been her biggest fan, the one who clapped the loudest during school plays and wore a little shirt emblazoned with Maya for president in large, bold letters. She squeezed through the crowd, determined to reach him. Did you see me up there? She beamed, her smile matching the brightness in his eyes. I did. You were amazing. He shouted back, his excitement infectious. Everyone was listening to you. I think you're gonna win. But his fervent belief made her doubts swell again. What if they don't see me like you do? She asked softly, her voice faltering. Alex frowned, crossing his arms. They have to see you. You told them the truth. That's what matters. His unwavering confidence momentarily eased her worries. But as she glanced back at the assembled crowd, she saw students moving towards their respective social groups, laughter ringing in the air. Would they truly take her words to heart? For a moment, the warmth of camaraderie gave way to a tempest of insecurity. Just then, a senior walked past her, wearing a smooth smile and really flashy kicks. Nice speech, he said casually, before drifting away. A wave of shame washed over Maya, pulling her back to the feeling of inadequacy she had wrestled all her life. Would her sneakers always define her in their eyes? Determined to shake off the lingering doubt, she looked back at Alex, who was grinning as he waved one of the handmade signs from earlier. Come on, let us celebrate. You need to know you're awesome. They made their way to the cafeteria where a plethora of students gathered around the tables. The aroma of frosting and warm pastries filled the room. Comfort food for comfort moments. But before Maya could succumb to the sweet distraction, the announcement for the election results blared over the loudspeaker, slicing through the chatter like a knife. Attention, students. It's time to announce the 2023 Student Council President. Maya's heart thudded. All eyes were now on the stage, her breath hitched in her throat as the principal began to list the candidates. And the new president is. This was it. There was no turning back. Would her journey transform her story, or would she remain the girl with the torn shoes? As the name echoed in the air, her heart stopped a split second that felt eternal, but then she heard nothing, the voice of the principal drowned out by the noise of her racing thoughts. Would hope be enough, or would she still be searching for a place to belong? In that moment, she knew her life was on the brink of change. But how much change? How far would she go to make a difference, even if it meant standing alone? Everything boiled down to this answer: would she rise, or would she fall? Maya felt her heart pound against her ribs, a frantic drum echoing her spiraling thoughts. The loudspeaker was a relentless barrage of sound, drowning out the moment that was supposed to mark her victory or defeat. The intensity of the cafeteria buzz felt like an ocean crashing over her, threatening to pull her down. The new president is the principal's voice faded in and out as the rush of self-doubt surged back. What if she didn't win? Would her efforts have been for nothing? A soft hand gripped her shoulder, steadying her. It was Alex, his small, determined face looking up at her with a fierce innocence. It's okay, Maya. You were amazing. I just know it. His belief wrapped around her like a warm blanket, but fear still gnawed at her gut. Then, as if caught in slow motion, the principal's final words cut through the noise. Maya Thompson. Silence enveloped the room before cheers erupted, a tidal wave washing over her. Maya blinked, her surroundings blurring for a moment. She wasn't sure if she had actually heard her name or if her mind was playing tricks on her. But the raucous applause confirmed it, along with the bright smiles on her classmates' faces. Could it be true? A wave of adrenaline surged through her, propelling her towards the stage. With each step, she felt lighter, free from the weight of uncertainty. But what if they only cheered for this moment, only to forget her words tomorrow? Maya, come on. Alex shouted, tugging her hand. She spotted him waving his sign wildly, vulnerability and hope shining in his eyes. It was more than just a victory for her, it was a victory for him, too. With the mic in hand, she turned to face her classmates. Taking a deep breath, she let the joy wrap around her like an embrace. Thank you. Thank you all so much. I can't believe this. Her voice trembled slightly, but she pushed through. We need to uplift each other. Change doesn't happen overnight, but if we stand together, applause rose again, stronger this time. She felt it, their support, their connection. Suddenly, someone in the back shouted, "What about the shoes?" Laughter rippled through the room. Maya chuckled, a nervous laugh that broke the tension. Yes, the shoes. They might be torn, but they've taken me on this incredible journey. The room hummed with understanding and camaraderie. It was as if the shoes reflected everything about her, an imperfect but honest representation of her experience. I want to be your voice. A voice for all of us. Cheers erupted once more. For the first time that day, she felt like she truly belonged. Yet, beneath that spark of joy, a quiet fear lingered. The euphoria of winning often faded quickly. Would people still rally around her when the challenges began? Maya. Maya. Her name rang in the air, drowning out that creeping anxiety. And in that moment, she realized she couldn't do this alone. She had to empower her friends, to build a community where everyone felt validated, torn shoes or not. As the celebration continued to swell around her, an inkling of doubt crept into her thoughts. But what if they find out I'm not enough? She whispered to herself, just as Alex caught her eye, his adoration matching the applause. She couldn't let her fears overshadow this moment. Gathering strength, she made a silent promise to herself. She would keep speaking out, forging connections, and standing tall, one step at a time. But as the last echo of applause faded, Maya felt the weight of what was to come. The real journey was just beginning. Would she be able to rise to the challenge? And with that lingering question, she looked out at the crowd, ready to embrace the uncertain path ahead. Maya stood in the center of the stage, the cheers still ringing in her ears. The cafeteria buzz felt electric, each clap synchronizing with her racing heartbeat. She could still feel the slight tremor of disbelief. She had won. Yet within that burst of joy, reality whispered unsettling doubts. What now? After the applause simmered down, she stepped aside, allowing her peers a moment to express their excitement. Voices flowed together, each one vibrant and filled with life. Friends rushed forward, congratulating her, but she felt slightly disconnected, as if she was still floating above the scene. "Hey, you were incredible." Alex beamed, his eyes sparkling. "I told you they would love you." He jumped up and down, a whirlwind of enthusiasm. Maya smiled back, appreciating his excitement, but she felt a tension twist in her gut. "Thanks, Alex. But this is just the beginning. I can't mess it up." "Nah, you'll be great. We're all behind you. You just gotta believe in yourself." His confidence was contagious, fueling a flicker of hope in her heart. The days that followed, each passing minute twisted emotions within her. The excitement of victory mixed with daunting realizations she now carried the hopes of her classmates. Maya spent hours analyzing her plans, jotting notes and collecting ideas. She wanted to be the leader they hoped for. But what if she let them down? One afternoon, while perched on her favorite bench in the park, Maya noticed something unexpected. A group of kids gathered across from her, laughing and cheering. They were tying all sorts of ribbons around their shoes, creating a colorful tapestry of twinkles. Their joy was palpable, spilling into the air like sunlight. "What are you doing?" Maya called over, curiosity piqued. "We're making our shoes match our dreams." One of the kids shouted back. "It's about who we are." Maya's heart swelled. How beautiful, she thought. Shoes symbolizing dreams. She gazed down at her own worn-out sneakers and realized they were the embodiment of her journey, not just a ragged pair but a reflection of her strength. What if she encouraged others to share their stories, too? That evening, she called a meeting of her future student council. As she walked in, a mix of excitement and anxiety churned in her stomach. Friends and classmates filled the room. They were all looking up at her, but this time, it felt different. She could see their dreams sparkling in their eyes, just as brightly as the ribbons those kids had tied around their shoes. "Thank you all for being here," she began. "I want us to share who we are, not just as individuals but together. Our stories are what make us strong. Let's create a platform for everyone, no matter how torn their shoes might be." Murmurs of approval erupted. Encouraged, Maya continued, "We can share our struggles, our dreams, and yes, even our shoes. Let us uplift each other and celebrate. All voices matter here." The energy in the room shifted, excitement igniting minds. They started brainstorming ideas, each voice building the vision further. The laughter echoed, and for every hesitant word, there were three more filled with hope. But amid this warm atmosphere, a shadow passed over her heart. What if her idea didn't take off? What if, once again, people turned away from her? Pushing the thought aside, Maya listened to her friends share their dreams that varied from art to activism, sports to science. Hopeful stories reached the ceiling, gluing them together in unexpected ways. As they planned their first community event, doubt gnawed at her mind. Would they remain committed? What if they grew tired? Maya took a deep breath, the vibrant energy lifting her spirits. She had to focus not on her fears, but on the bonds they were crafting. The meeting ended with everyone buzzing, and as she walked home, she grasped the realization: connection came from vulnerability, embracing their stories. And though the challenges ahead seemed daunting, she wouldn't face them alone. But when she arrived home, a message on her phone caught her eye, a post that sent her heart racing. Was this criticism, or had someone challenged her vision before it even began? She hesitated, caught between excitement and fear, wondering what implications it could bring for her and her dream. Would she be able to face it? Maya's heart pounded as she stared at the screen. The post had her name in bold letters, followed by a barrage of comments. Some praised her for her ideas, but others felt the need to poke fun, mocking her earnest enthusiasm. The words felt like barbed wire, prickling her skin with every glance. Who does she think she is? One comment read. Can she even lead? Another snarked. The echo of doubt was deafening, each word clawing at her confidence, tearing open the vulnerability she had just embraced. Taking a deep breath, she fought the urge to respond. Instead, she closed her phone and sank into the couch, arms wrapped around her knees. The room felt cold, the weight of the world hanging heavy in the air. Could she truly be the voice of her peers with this kind of backlash? What if they saw her the way these critics did? After a few moments of silence, Maya's thoughts shifted. The words didn't just represent harshness, they reflected something deeper, a fear rooted in their own insecurities. Many of her classmates were battling their own challenges, just as she was. They were all still finding their way, and maybe, just maybe, the mockery stemmed from a misunderstanding of her intent. With a spark of determination, she picked up her phone again. Instead of reacting with anger, she wrote a message. In it, she shared a piece of her story, how she had begun her journey with torn shoes and a heart full of dreams. She expressed her desire to create a space for everyone, encouraging them to share their journeys, too. After all, wasn't that the idea she was trying to build together? Maya hesitated, her finger hovering over the post button. What if this didn't help? What if it opened her up to more ridicule? But her heart spoke louder than her doubts. She hit send, and instantly, there was a rush of relief. That night, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Sleep eluded her, the challenges ahead swirling in her mind. Would encouraging others to speak up encourage more backlash, or would it foster a sense of unity? The next morning was gloomy, the sky threatening rain. As she walked through the halls of her school, uncertainty wrapped around her like a thick fog. She spotted whispers and glances her way, and her pulse quickened. But then there were smiles too, waves from familiar faces. When she reached her locker, something startling greeted her. A small group of girls stood around it. Her heart sank. But instead of scorn or derision, she was met with smiles. "Hey, we read your post," one of them said. "It really inspired me." "Yeah, can we talk about ideas for the community event?" Another chimed in. In that moment, something shifted in Maya. It was like a light piercing through the fog. She realized that sharing her vulnerability was not just an act of courage, it was a catalyst for others to do the same. Suddenly, a boy from her class approached. "Maya, I think we should share our stories at the event," he suggested. "Create a space for everyone to connect." A wave of excitement washed over her. "Absolutely," she replied, her voice stronger now. "Let us do this together." As they discussed more ideas, plans began to flourish like wildflowers breaking through concrete. The laughter returned, brightening the dreary day. They brainstormed ways to showcase their struggles and triumphs. But just as Maya felt herself rising above her fears, the school principal appeared, his expression serious. "Maya, can I speak to you for a moment?" Her stomach twisted. What now? Would it be about the comments? Would she be pulled apart for her ambition? With a sense of dread, she followed him, wondering if the wheels of doubt were turning again. What lay ahead could change everything. What was he going to say? Would it support her, or pull her deeper into uncertainty? Maya followed the principal, her mind racing with worry. The fluorescent lights buzzed above as they passed the empty cafeteria, a bizarre contrast to the excitement she had just felt moments before. Each step towards his office felt like a weight on her shoulders, and she wondered if her newfound courage was about to be shattered. "Have a seat, Maya," Mr. Johnson said, motioning to a chair in front of his desk. His expression was soft, but seriousness hung in the air like a thick fog. Maya sat down, her palms sweating. She fidgeted with the hem of her shirt, trying to calm her nerves. "I wanted to talk about your post," he began, watching her closely. It stirred quite a bit of conversation, both positive and negative. She held her breath. "Is that bad?" "No, not necessarily." He leaned forward. "I've seen the impact you've had on your classmates already. Your message resonated with many. It's brave of you to be so open." Relief washed over her, but it quickly turned to anxiety again. Then why do I feel like I'm in trouble? Mr. Johnson smiled. Because sometimes, when we take a stand and encourage others, it can feel overwhelming. But I want to applaud you for wanting to create a supportive environment, something our school needs. Her heart began to swell. But the mean comments, they hurt. Of course they do. Everyone has their own battles and often lash out to protect themselves. You're facing this head on, and that takes strength. He paused, letting his words settle. I'm here to help, Maya. In fact, I think your idea for the community event could be a pivotal moment for many students. Maya's chest tightened. So, you support it? Definitely. But I'd like to take it a step further. How about presenting it at the next school assembly? You can share your story and invite others to do the same. The idea spun in her mind, a whirlwind of emotions danced in her chest. Me? In front of everyone? Yes. You have a unique voice, and it's time for others to hear it. You could inspire students to share their journeys, too. Imagine the connection that could foster. As he spoke, visions of students standing together, sharing their stories, flooded her mind. The weight lifted slightly, replaced by a flicker of hope. What if they don't feel the same way? Fear of rejection is common, but genuine vulnerability always creates bonds. Besides, I'll stand beside you. We can create something beautiful together. A smile broke across her face, and Maya felt a new light spark inside her. This was what she wanted, to facilitate unity, to let everyone know they weren't alone in their struggles. Okay, she said, her voice steadier now. Let us do it. As she left the principal's office, she felt lighter. The sky outside had started to clear, a glimmer of sunlight breaking through. Maya took a deep breath, as though shedding the weight of doubt she had been carrying. She was ready to embrace this journey. Later that day, as news of her assembly presentation spread, written messages began to appear in her locker from students wanting to share their stories. The fear that once clung to her began to dissipate, replaced by a buzz of excitement. But just as she began believing in the power of her voice, another comment popped up on social media, a harsh, biting taunt that cut deeper than the rest. Who cares about your story? You have nothing special to share. Maya's heart sank. Could she still forge ahead when shadows loomed over her dreams? Would sharing her voice be enough to allow others to open up, or would the fear of ridicule suffocate the light before it even shone? Maya stood at a crossroads, wondering if she had the strength to overcome yet another wave of doubt. The next step would define her more than any words ever could. Maya stood in the middle of the hallway, staring at the screen of her phone. The biting comment echoed in her mind like a relentless drum. It was as if it had wrapped around her heart, squeezing tightly, darkening the bright future she had just glimpsed. The thrill of excitement from earlier felt like a distant memory, slowly replaced by the cold grip of doubt. She took a shaky breath and glanced around. Students chatted and laughed while lockers slammed shut. It was like a different world, one filled with joy and acceptance. Meanwhile, here she was, teetering on the edge of uncertainty. What if they all thought the same thing? What if her words had no power? As Maya made her way to her next class, each step felt heavy. The praise from Mr. Johnson faded, drowned out by the negativity she now felt. The supportive messages that had flooded her locker didn't feel like enough cushion against the weight of that single comment. After class, she spotted Lila standing with her usual group, encouraging others to join the cheer squad. A flicker of hope sparked inside her. Lila had always been genuine, and Maya couldn't help but think she might understand the pain of that comment. She took a deep breath and approached. Hey, Lila. Maya hesitated, her voice almost trembling. Can we talk? Lila turned, her eyes lighting up. Of course. What's up? They stepped a little ways away from the group. I got some, feedback on that post, and I'm feeling I just don't know if I can go through with presenting at the assembly. Lila's expression softened. I saw that comment too. It's hurtful, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, who am I to share anything that matters? Stop it right there, Lila interrupted gently. Your voice matters. You're sharing your truth, and that's powerful. People feel things they can't always say. But sharing your story? It might help someone feel less alone. Trust me on this. Maya felt a small spark of warmth. You really think so? Absolutely. Look at me, I'm terrified every time I step onto the field. But I do it anyway because I love cheering for my team. Your words could be someone else's cheer. Remember, everyone has a story. Maya nodded, feeling a shift. Maybe it was true. Maybe even if one person dismissed her, there were others who needed to hear her. Thanks, Lila. You really helped me see it differently. Anytime. And hey, let us brainstorm together. I'd love to help you write it out, maybe even come along to support you at the assembly. The idea felt comforting, like a warm hug after a cold day. They spent the next few hours writing, laughing, and sharing their thoughts. Each word Maya typed made her feel lighter. Each story they crafted together became a glimpse into a world where sharing vulnerability could spark connection. But as Maya left the school that day, another notification popped up on her phone. She froze, heart racing again. It was another comment, but this time it wasn't just a taunt. Keep talking about your inspiring story, everyone knows you're just a nobody. Maya felt the old familiar ache. Would she always be weighed down by these shadows? Just as she was about to spiral, her eyes flickered toward the sunset. Rich hues of orange and pink splashed across the sky. In that moment, she thought of all the colors hidden in the dark, waiting to shine. Could she really turn this around? Would the assembly be a moment of courage or a path to more hurt? Only one way to find out. The next morning, Maya woke up to the soft glow of sunlight filtering through her bedroom window. For a moment, everything felt right. She stretched, remembering Lila's words. They stirred something deep within her. Maybe sharing her story at the assembly could be the beginning of something new. As she got ready for school, her old, worn sneakers caught her eye. They had seen better days, the canvas frayed and the soles almost flat. Part of her wanted to slip on something new, something that would boost her confidence. But another part of her flashed back to all the memories those shoes held, the countless times they had carried her through challenges, through laughter and even moments of tears. They were a reminder of who she was. Deciding to stick with them, Maya left the house feeling a mix of anticipation and fear. The school day felt like an endless cycle of nerves. Thoughts circled her mind like a flock of restless birds. She tried to focus in class, but the assembly loomed like an unsolved puzzle. At lunch, she found Lila waiting at their usual table. Hey, how are you feeling about the assembly? Lila asked, her eyes glimmering with encouragement. I guess I'm just scared, Maya admitted, pushing her spaghetti around on her plate. What if nobody cares about what I have to say? Or what if they do? Lila challenged playfully. You never know who might need to hear your words. Focus on the people who believe in you. Maya nodded, appreciating Lila's unwavering support. They discussed their plans for the assembly, building a sense of excitement together. Soon, Maya lost herself in the thrill of storytelling, imagining the way her words could unfold like pages in a book. Each layer she peeled back made her feel stronger. After school, as they huddled together in the library, Lila shared her own fears about performing at the pep rally. What if I trip or mess up my routine? She wondered, biting her lip. Maya smiled, thinking about how courageous Lila always appeared to everyone else. You're a cheerleader. You inspire us no matter what. Lila's eyes lit up. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. That's what gets the crowd cheering. In that moment, Maya let out a laugh. They were both scared yet determined. Maybe their shared vulnerability would be their strength. But as Maya headed home, an ominous thought nagged at her. What if she stood there, microphone in hand, and the cruel comments about her being a nobody echoed back in her mind? At that moment, her phone buzzed again. Maya braced herself, half expecting another jab, but this time it was a message from her little brother. Maya. I'm so proud of you. Go rock that assembly. Her heart warmed. If her brother believed in her, maybe she could believe too. The evening turned to night, and Maya sat on her bed, staring at her reflection in the mirror. "You matter," she whispered to herself. "Your story matters." But when she closed her eyes, the shadows of doubt crept back in. Would she really have the courage to share her truth? The night stretched on, filled with anticipation and uncertainty. She found herself wondering what would happen if she truly let go and poured her heart out on that stage. Could a simple assembly change everything? As sleep finally overtook her, Maya's heart raced with the many possibilities that awaited her. In just a few hours, she'd have to pick a side, courage or fear. And for the first time, a flicker of hope pushed at the edges of her doubts. Would tomorrow finally be her moment to shine, or would it simply be a repeat of the hurt? Either way, the answer was just around the corner. The morning of the assembly arrived, and Maya woke up with a mix of nerves and excitement. She stared at her reflection, feeling the weight of her worn sneakers on her feet. They weren't just shoes, they were her story. Today, she would step onto that stage with all of it, her fears, her victories, her vulnerabilities laid bare. As she entered the bustling hallway, students chattered and laughed, the energy palpable. Yet, among the noise, her heart beat with trepidation. Would they listen? Would they care? But then she remembered Alex's words, "You just gotta believe in yourself." Each familiar face reminded her of the warmth they had shared during the planning sessions. She took a deep breath, determined to push aside the doubts threatening to overwhelm her. Maya made her way to the assembly hall, her stomach fluttering like butterflies taking flight. She spotted Lila at the front, her grin bright like a ray of sunshine. Maya waved, and Lila nodded encouragingly, her presence a beacon of support. Seated in the hall, Maya felt the anxiety begin to swirl, but it was accompanied by something else, an urge to rise above. The principal took to the stage, welcoming everyone, setting the tone for the gathering. Maya clenched the note cards in her hands, feeling the paper crumple beneath her fingers. This was it, her moment to step into the light and share her truth. "Please welcome Maya Thompson," the principal announced. A wave of applause surged through the crowd. Maya stood, her heart racing. As she climbed the few steps to the stage, the world felt muted around her. The gymnasium filled her vision, full of faces, some friendly, some uncertain. She looked down at her shoes. They had walked many paths, and today would be another. Gripping the microphone, she took a deep breath. "Hi everyone," she started, her voice slightly shaky but stronger with each word. "I'm here to share a bit of my story and to invite you to share yours too." A murmur ran through the crowd, her sincerity painting the moment with authenticity. "I know you've seen my shoes," she continued, her gaze finding familiar faces. "They might be worn out and a little tattered, but they brought me to this moment. They remind me of resilience. Each scratch tells a story of trials and triumphs." She locked eyes with Lila, who gave her a reassuring nod, and Maya felt a rush of courage. "I've faced a lot of fear. People doubting my worth, questioning my intentions. But those fears? They made me fight harder." Each word built upon the last, like bricks forming a solid foundation. As her voice grew stronger, she shared her journey, the fires that had stoked her passion to unite her classmates, the moments of laughter and hope that had sparked from vulnerability. "Every one of us has a story. It's how we connect. Let us lift each other up, celebrate our differences. That's where true strength lies." Applause erupted, a warm wave washing over her, but Maya wasn't finished. "Let us use our stories to create something beautiful. Our voices together can be a force for change." She paused, allowing her words to sink in. The faces seemed more engaged now, some nodding in understanding. "I encourage you all to share your dreams and struggles. And let us support each other. Because in doing so, we discover that none of us are alone." A silence followed, heavy with emotion. Then, a roar of applause broke like the dawn of a new day, flooding the hall with life. Maya's heart swelled as she soaked in their acceptance. She felt seen, heard, belonging for the first time. As she stepped off the stage, a cascade of classmates surrounded her, their eyes shining with appreciation. "That was amazing. You really touched us, Maya. Their words sounded like music, lifting her spirit higher than she had thought possible. Lila squeezed her arm, her excitement bubbling over. You did it. You really inspired us. Maya beamed, her heart full. They had embraced her torn shoes and all. In that moment, it cleared. It wasn't about winning or losing anymore. It was about the connection and the journey they would all take together. The shadows of doubt began to fade, replaced with the bright promise of unity and community spirit. They had arrived at something real, something meaningful. Maya walked out of that assembly, not just a girl with torn shoes but a leader who had catalyzed change. A ripple of hope had begun, drawing together all the dreamers and doers in her school. The real journey was just beginning, and with every step, she knew she wouldn't walk alone. And now, my friends, this is your moment. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like immediately to feed the algorithm. Your support makes a difference. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of your actions. Let's build this community together.